2 weeks ago.
House Romanov. Yuri Romanov looks down at his daughter and asks gently, "Are you ready for the games, my darling? This will be your first time surrounded by others in the magical community." Anna looks up at him, her voice wavering just the slightest as she responds, "I'm ready, Papa. Can we practice the spell again?" She points down to the runes she has carefully been drawing in the sand, each symbol perfectly copied and placed. Yuri smiles, setting his tome aside as he bends down to observe the runes, and says, "Of course, Papa is here to keep you safe. You may begin whenever you wish." Anna smiles brightly and begins chanting, Latin flowing smoothly from her lips as the pattern begins to illuminate with a soft glow.
House Valentine. Various members of the house gather in the main estate. One of the younger members calls out, "Are you sure that Mary Anna is the best choice to lead our family? She's not exactly the most stable choice after everything that happened with her brother. Not to mention those hideous rumors about her creating a living golem and all." An older member responds sternly, "It matters not what you think or feel. When we arrive for the Blinkball Games, we must show a united front. Everything else can be dealt with after the conclusion of the games." Murmurs of agreement sweep through those gathered, and silence falls as they await further instruction.
House Sorel. A couple sits on their yacht. The man is fishing, and the woman is seated on a comfortable chair as she flips through a book. After a couple minutes, the woman casually remarks, "You still haven't responded to our daughter's most recent messages." The man harumphs as he sets his fishing pole aside and says gruffly, "What is there to say about the peasant boy that she's enamored with?" The woman rolls her eyes affectionately. "Just don't be too hard on him when you meet him. He has to have some goodness in him for our daughter to speak so highly of him. So long as he knows the difference between motivation and machination."
House Opatos. Calliope is quiet as she and Leonidas eat dinner, waited on by various servants. Finally, she ventures, "Are you sure that he is ready? What if you're wrong?" Leonidas responds firmly, "Demetrius will never learn if he is never tested, and he will never grow if you continue to coddle him. We have done the best we can with his upbringing. Now, the rest is up to him." Welcome to Arcadia Academy, the elite school for magicians. Here, we teach our students to prepare for battle like Athena, but fight like Ares. All of our students have the opportunity to learn battle magic should they choose. But remember, great magic requires sacrifice. Hi guys, and welcome to Arcadia Academy. I'm Kelly, your DM for this campaign. Joining me today are Betty, who plays Cassandra.
Why, hello there.
Cecil, who plays John Baptiste.
Good evening.
Caleb, who plays James.
Hello, hello.
Logan, who plays Demetrius, who is running late and will be joining us a little later tonight. Nick, who plays Alex.
Hello.
David, the DM from behind the curtain, who helps me make things happen.
Good evening, comrades.
And occasionally, we'll be graced by Rosie, our resident Catdragon. So, guys, this episode, like our last interlude, post-interlude episode, is a little different because, well, when we last left off, things happened, but also we had an interlude episode. So prior to the interlude, you guys... Oh, I didn't write notes down because I haven't edited the episode. But from what I remember, Leopold Valentine and Mary Anna had a family moment, and you guys somehow successfully, despite subpar roles, managed to convince Headmistress Valentine that you guys should absolutely be allowed to participate in the Blinkball Games. And the Headmistress finally allowed it with one caveat. You guys had to be trained by none other than Mariana. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that before we dig into our session tonight?
How does Cassandra feel about that?
Great question.
So not the happiest, but she's just gonna be very wary of Mariana. But like she's not gonna be rude to her. Because if this is like what is needed, then this is what we're gonna do. But she's not gonna go out of her way to like talk to Mariana and like socialize with her and be her friend like she did before.
That's fair. Kind of like we're gonna do what the fuck we need to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So, speaking of Cassandra, we need to wrap a couple things up. So, at the end of Cassandra's interlude, I don't know why I can't say Cassandra. You had a surprise.
Cassandra.
Cassandra.
Yes, I did.
I'm
just
you
kidding.
went to Olivia Quinn's office to ask about your dreams, and instead you found your father standing next to Olivia Quinn's desk.
Yeah, that.
So Cassandra,
Uh-huh.
as you walk in, your father Will looks from Olivia Quinn, where you would infer they might have been talking just earlier, and he looks up at you and he says, I had hoped that this was not true. Magic is inherently unnatural, and it goes against the laws of nature. And I will have nothing to do with this.
How did you find this school? How did you find any of this? Did you know about this?
Instead of answering your question, Cassandra, he says, your mother, she was unnatural. Things just always seem to happen around her. And it appears that you have inherited some genetic material from her that gives you additional abilities. And Cassandra, you've never in your entire life, you've never seen your father like this. The way he's almost reverent in the way he speaks about like science, as he is a very science and logically inclined individual, and almost that hint of madness in his eyes as he like dismisses magic as unnatural.
Okay.
And he looks over at Olivia Quinn again, who's like not saying anything. She's just kind of watching the scene unfold. And he turns back to you and says, you have a decision to make, Cassandra. Choose your family and choose our world, or choose your magic and this world. But no daughter of mine will be a magician.
And who are you to tell me what to do after not really being in my life at all, after pushing me out and making and like choose what family? You're not my family. You are the other half of the genetics that made me, but not you and my mother have never acted as a true family. And now what do you want? You want me to leave all of this to do what? To not be a part of your new family? No.
Very
Also,
well.
why did you never tell me? Why didn't either of you ever tell me?
Well, that matters little now. It appears you've made your decision. And he doesn't look at you as he turns over to Olivia Quinn and says, the contracts that we've signed will stand, but I will have nothing further to do with this daughter of mine. I have no daughter.
What contracts? What have you signed?
And he sweeps past you.
I'm gonna grab his arm. No.
He turns.
I have questions for him. He's been ignoring me.
He turns and like pries your fingers off. And Olivia
Can I use some
Quinn
magic on him?
says, I can answer those questions, Cassandra. He cannot.
You can answer questions about my mother? Like, I had questions about my mother.
No, not about your mother. I don't know about her.
Well then, okay.
But He will not be able to answer some
Uh,
of those questions you've just asked.
That's fine. Like, I also need to know. Wait, so where do you go? Is he still
Well,
there?
he's in the middle of prying your hands off, and you're thinking about using magic against your father in front of Olivia
Okay,
Quinn.
well, I'm gonna not do that. I'm gonna like put my other hand on top of his to get him to
Let
stop.
me
Like,
go.
tell me about my mother.
I don't know specifics. You would do well to speak to her, or you should have. And
Where is she?
you seem to be determined to do things on your own, so you can get a hold of your mother by yourself.
I'm determined to do things on my own because I've never had help. But if you offered to help, so why not give it?
You've always been stubborn. It was never that we never offered help. You were determined to do things on your own. So we let you.
I think that you are determined to see things your way and not listen to what I feel.
Well, again, that doesn't matter anymore. And he turns again to walk out the door.
Oh my god. Fine. I let him leave and I turn back to Olivia.
And she looks at you with an apologetic expression on her face and she says, I apologize that this came to pass, Cassandra. Occasionally, our faculty members work with highly esteemed experts in academia on projects. We make all consultants sign magically bonding non-disclosure agreements that prevent them from speaking of any partnerships that we make. Our consultants usually think of us as an eccentric board of wealthy trustees. And William O'Ready, as you know, is one of the most renowned in his field. He is also an academic researcher whom we have worked with in the past.
So that's why he knew about this.
And he was unable to
Well,
speak
he knew
of
about
it.
Arcadia Academy.
Yes.
Okay.
And before you
What
ask,
did he do for you?
I cannot answer that because you are not privy to such information.
Fine. Do you know about my mother?
As I've said earlier, I
Who
do
she
not.
is?
Occasionally, there are latent magic users, those who never fully develop their abilities, but as your father kind of said, things seem to happen around them. Your mother may have been one of them. She may not even know who
Have
or what
been.
she was.
Is there... I'm assuming you have lists of all of the magicians. Is there some kind of list of everybody who has magic or whatnot? Is she on any of those? Is she part of the librarians or the head witches?
We do not have such lists. Perhaps different schools have lists of individuals or those they planned to recruit, but there is no exhaustive, definitive list of every single person with magical abilities in the world.
No one takes a magical census? Well, okay then. I came here for a different question.
You did.
I don't know if this is the... Yeah, no, Cassandra's saying that.
Oh, never mind.
I came here with a different question. I'd meant to ask you something else, but I don't know if this is exactly the time or the mindset that I'm in for that. So, you seem to be here most of the time when I come here. Do you have office hours in which I could come in and ask you later?
Not anytime in the near future. As you are very well aware, we are preparing for the Blinkball Games. If this is important and needs to be addressed before the games, let me know. Otherwise, it's going to have to wait.
Well, it was about the dreams I've been having. I wanted to know if you have the ability to scry on things that other people see in their dreams. I've been seeing that entity that came through quite a few times, and it's a repeating thing in my dreams, and was wanting to know if potentially it could be useful, could scry on the location that I keep seeing.
I am needed with my scrying abilities for other tasks that the headmistress has given me. So I do apologize that I won't be able to do anything about this in the near future or anytime soon.
Could you let the headmistress know that I've been having these dreams that may or may not be helpful to her in figuring out what the entity is?
The headmistress and the other faculty members are still working on this, but I will pass along your dream information.
Okay.
And she nods at you in a clear dismissal.
Okay. I'm gonna walk out, go back to my room. Gosh.
Okay, everybody else. Well, and Betty / Cassandra.
I'm gonna mute myself as I scream into a pillow. Oh, fuck.
So, guys, you guys, what?
I'm the firm believer now that Kelly started this whole enterprise just a way to torture and mess with us.
I know, she's just doing this to fuck with her friends. Oh my
Yes.
god.
Honestly,
It's all one twisted
Ugh.
social experiment.
Honestly, I didn't have plans for your parents beyond open house, but then I was like, what if I made parents like a part of this thing? And I was like, oh my god, what if? And also, because like, we've had very little like character development from Cassandra in terms of like what she's thinking, what she's doing, what's up with her world, and now we do.
Yeah, because Cassandra like tries to keep that all separate. Like her parents are divorced. They don't keep in touch with each other. They've like married other people or dating other people, and like she's just kind of the
Black sheep of both families.
Yeah, basically. She's like the unwanted product of the family that didn't work. So she's just like try to stick it out on her own and just doesn't really respond well to either of them. So
Or to unwanted pressure, which was exerted.
This is also really interesting because like this is like not like Betty's experience with family. So like I'm just like going with what I think I would feel.
No, it's absolutely valid because you are role playing Cassandra, and I'm throwing the scenario at you.
Yeah. I'm just. Oh gosh.
So speaking of curveballs, guys. So you guys begin your training.
Fuck! Now I have to find my mom. Oh my god. She's in a hospital. I don't know if you guys know that.
No,
my
you guys
dad
haven't
wouldn't
shared
tell me
anything
about it. Oh my god.
You guys haven't shared anything about interludes yet because I needed to wrap up, Cassandra's interlude, basically.
Yeah, because you left me on a cliffhanger.
Well, yeah, that was the point. Duh. But
rude. Okay.
You guys begin training.
Just kidding. It's fine.
And you guys instead of going to your morning physical fitness classes, you guys basically meet up. Your team, Callan's team, and Renee's teams, and you guys all train together. And one morning, all of you arrive, and you see that the older students have formed like a semicircle, and Mariana is fighting Telrind. And as you guys approach, there are dual brilliant flashes of light, and both Mariana and Telrind flicker out of existence.
That's not normal.
And as you guys watch, you guys see footsteps kind of in the dirt as they begin kind of circling each other. And Telrind's voice calls out, "Not bad, little Valentine. Is that all you've got?" And Mariana's voice responds coolly, "There's one distinct difference between you and me." And Telrind says, "And what's that?" And Mariana responds, "I bend the rules." And two bolts of blue flickering electric energy fly towards his direction, and Telrind flickers into existence as he flies backwards, forming some kind of shield as he makes to block her, but he stumbles and he falls. And Mariana flickers back into existence as she strides forward and bends down to press a dagger against his throat as she says coolly, "Yield." And Telrind throws up his hands in a gesture of surrender as he responds, "All right, lesson learned. Damn, girl." And to your surprise, she throws out a hand to help him up.
I don't know what I just watched.
So do you guys have any guesses as to what your friend Talrin's discipline is?
I'm going to assume the same as Mariana.
Uh-huh. As you guys begin training, Mariana actually does take some time to address each of you individually. And I'm gonna go through kind of each of you, starting with Cassandra, since Logan is still on his way. So Cassandra, as you are watching the rest of your teammates train with the older students, Mariana stops right next to you, and she says calmly, "The second you use your discipline for the first time, you'll be painting a target on yourself and on your team. So choose your moment wisely. Any team worth their salt, especially in this competition, is going to have anti-magic and anti-traveler wards set up exactly to incapacitate any potential travelers. So you better have a backup plan for every single time you decide to travel."
Noted. Do you think that they would already know about me?
Most likely not, but things have a way of getting out, so I can't be sure.
Noted. I'm not thanking her. That's it. That's all I say.
And then as you turn back to like watch your classmates or whatever, you hear Mariana's voice again as she says, "Aridi."
Valentine?
No, like she's calling your name.
Yeah, I'm calling it back. Valentine? Yes?
So are you turning back to her?
Yeah.
So as you turn towards Mariana, she throws a scroll at you and casually comments, "Consider this a loan. And if you fail to return it, I'll scalp you." And Cassandra, as you catch this scroll,
Mm-hmm.
you see that it's a single parchment scroll wrapped with what you recognize to be an expensive silk ribbon. The scroll is somewhat old and not incredibly long, with an intact wax seal stamp on the outside of the scroll that does not seal the scroll itself. So you might infer that the wax seal was used for identification purposes as opposed to sealing the scroll. And this is what the insignia looks like. Oops, wrong button. So it's the crest for House Valentine. And this is what
It has a snake on it because she's a snake.
this is the
Okay, I'm done.
this is
Sorry, just
the
had to.
contents within the scroll.
Mm.
I'm not going to read it
Right.
because it's lengthy, but it's
Yeah.
titled Observations on the Traveler Discipline, in parentheses, as noted by Aura Octavia Valentine, dated February 27th, 1952. And as the name implies, these are observations made by this Valentine family member, along with updated notes every so often, and a list of what appears to be travelers that this Valentine family member found or learned about, but they're all deceased. And the very last update is from December 20th, 2015, and it says, "AOV was killed at 83 years young while researching the traveler discipline. As such, this document will no longer be updated and will instead be moved to the family archives for future reference." And it's signed Amelia Naomi Valentine, family historian.
Okay. Oh my god. There's a list in here. Yeah. I don't know if that's probably what you're looking at. There's a list in here of known travelers. Most of them died young
Uh-huh.
of
Yeah.
traveler accident or
Before 40.
murder or suicide.
So
Murder.
something notable that you would
Oh,
definitely
God.
see is that Aura, the author, has noted that basically Eleanor, the cousin that this person, the author, has observed, had a theory that most magicians are prone to being murdered, but she stated, "I don't know if I believe her." So have fun.
Wow. Okay. I'm just reading the document. I'm like, gosh. Oh my god. So much pressure on all sides. I can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like the day after she gives you this document, Mariana actually points you like inside towards the classroom so you can practice the exercise recommended, which is
Yeah.
basically look at two similar rooms and be able to identify the differences between them after 1 minute of observation and get work down to 30 seconds. So she basically has you
Mhm.
practicing this. Like, so you spend the next several days like looking at room after room after room, trying to figure out here
Mhm.
are the differences between classroom 1 and classroom 2, even though they look fucking identical.
And like learn to like visualize it
Yep.
in your mind, I'm assuming, so that you can like yeah. Got it. Yeah, visualizing clearly in your mind to like transport somewhere is something that's like a very common theme of things that are hard to do.
Yep.
So yeah.
Hi, Logan.
Cool. Yeah, hi Logan.
Hello.
Are you
Hi.
ready?
Verbally, yes. I'm not on the
That's
computer
okay.
yet.
You don't need to
Chi-Chi,
be
come
on the computer yet. Take your time getting there.
here. Okay.
Um,
I'm just laying the dogs out
let's
right now.
see. Alex, Mariana doesn't really have a lot to say to you. She simply says, you have a common discipline, which means that they're going to underestimate you. So use it to your advantage.
Fair enough. I'll keep that in mind.
Let's see. JB, from what you can tell, Mariana hasn't really changed in her demeanor towards you. Like, she's never been like a warm person, but she's no colder than normal or really any difference that you've noticed. She asks you a couple questions about your discipline and to kind of get a scope of your abilities. And she makes a recommendation for you to see if you can perhaps find allies within the ghosts on Arcadia Academy's campus, as the Blinkball Games are going to be held on home turf. Mariana herself doesn't know about what ghosts you may or may not have already talked to.
All right.
James?
Yes.
Mariana doesn't really have anything to say to you because she doesn't really know a lot about the urges. But she says,
Figured not.
I would assess this inner theurge of yours and determine if they truly can be trusted.
So far, they've not led me astray, so I trust them.
As far as you know.
As far as I know, yes.
Hey, Alex. Have you had a chance to talk to James yet about the cost of your little Gordian key?
Not exactly.
Do you plan to bring it up?
Yes. I'm just trying to figure out when I should do that. Oh, how, not more, like, when, as Nick, I can do that when recording.
I see.
Did this cost also? Is this cost for everyone who gave hair? Because
We're
You
gonna
don't
figure
know.
that out.
Oh, okay. Got it. So nothing's happened. Nothing happened to Cassandra while I was not here.
Well,
No? Okay.
you guys
No,
didn't
no,
like
nothing.
wake
Got
up
it.
Yet.
like being tortured and
Yet,
held at
okay.
the edge of a volcano, if that's what you're asking.
Oh,
Yet.
that's fun.
That's very
Okay.
specific.
Yeah, I know. Is this a fantasy of yours? Do we need to talk about this?
You know, I have hiked up in Hawaii a volcano. That was very fun. It was dormant.
Ooh.
But no. I don't plan to live out like my Sabrina the Teenage Witch, kill your evil twin kind of days, you know? Thank you very much.
Cool.
All right, Demetrius,
What's up?
are you the self-appointed team leader?
I feel like I probably have to be since I'm the one
Is anyone else
hyped about
contesting
this game.
Demetrius for leadership of your team for the Blinkball Games?
I trust him.
Does anybody else want to be
Good.
team leader? I guess would be the question.
I'm not even sure I want to be on this team.
Absolutely not.
We know that.
I'm not talky. It should go to someone talky.
James?
I say you put me in charge, and I will disband this whole thing.
It's too late. You've signed and you've been approved
Fair,
and
fair.
all these things. Okay, so then Demetrius, Mariana would have like almost strategizing sessions with you from time to time throughout your training. She'll ask you questions like, what strategies have you come up with to best utilize the strengths amongst your team? So she doesn't give you a
Haven't
very
thought that
impressed look when you respond, I don't know.
How are we supposed to prepare for something that we don't know anything about?
I feel like Demetrius would have started thinking about this. So that's okay. And her follow-up
I'm sure
question,
too.
she asks, how far along have you come with mastery over your discipline? Surely you know that, she points to the patch on your neck, is a sign of weakness. It tells every single one of the competing teams that you haven't. And I guarantee you that the first thing anyone will do the moment they see that patch is to rip it off.
I have gotten better, haven't I? I think in our last session
Yeah,
you mentioned it, but I don't know how good.
that's
But-
kind of what she's pointing out. Like, regardless of how you've
Gotcha.
improved, you don't know how good you are. So the fact that you're wearing this patch that's super obvious and visible is a sign to like all the other, all your opponents that, hey, it's like a target.
Maybe I want them to think that. Boom.
Are you telling her that?
Reverse psychology. Yeah, with a slight sarcasm.
So then she reaches out, grabs the patch, and rips it off. And Demetrius, you are immediately overcome by just the sound of thoughts of other people around you who have not bothered to shield their thoughts. And you crumble to your knees as you're attempting to...
Can I roll to make it seem like I'm trying to look impressive?
Sure, roll some kind of an athletics or acrobatics check.
I'm really good with athletics.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
So as you crumble to your knees, what are you trying to do to look awesome and badass as you fall to your knees as Mariana takes the patch off the back of your neck?
Just more like trying to withstand the pain.
Okay.
Like this doesn't hurt.
Okay.
Kind of thing.
And she holds the patch out to you to grab back if you choose to grab it back. And she says, "Your esteemed parents personally wrote to me to thank me for tutoring you. They've also asked for an update, if and when possible."
Yeah, they're very nosy sometimes.
And she takes out another scroll, like an envelope, with a letter that's already been opened, and she gives it to you. And it's dated November 13th, 2020, which would have been... It's dated the week that Mariana learned the truth about her brother, so mid-November. And it reads, in your father's handwriting, "Revered daughter of House Valentine, please accept our eternal gratitude for gifting our son with your time and knowledge in preparation for the Blinkball Games. We know how much the games mean to your esteemed family, and we are delighted to support you in any capacity. We would also like to take this time to apologize for any perceived slight against your house. We know that our son can be brash at times, for he is still learning to take up the mantle of our house. And for that, we are grateful for your leadership, and we hope that he can learn from the example you are setting. Please let us know if there is any way we can ever repay your kindness. Very respectfully yours, Leonidas and Calliope Opedos."
In Demetrius' mind, he's like, she probably frames that at night.
So you guys train. Is there anything specific that you guys had wanted to perhaps glean, like insight-wise or training-wise, from the other teams?
So I assume we need to practice the God, what's it called?
The cooperative magic spell?
Yeah.
It's not really a spell we can practice.
Yeah, no, you
Demetrius.
cannot practice that spell without actually setting off the alarms and security for this campus. As long as you've been taught it, like that kind of satisfies the requirements. The headmistress interviewed you guys, remember, last session, and she didn't actually ask for you guys to demonstrate that you could do it. So you guys wouldn't have to necessarily worry about that.
Gotcha.
Now would be the time I go over to James.
Okay.
By any chance, has that voice in your head told you about a cost about the Gordian key we made, James?
Not really a cost, no. I mean, apart from people's hair.
Well, there is a cost.
Oh?
At least according to Alyssa. We kind of talked about what happened, and she told me to warn you that there might be something at that demanded from you to make, or us.
By who?
Like, it was the cost of using the spell.
Interesting.
Like, maybe you should ask that little voice, that voice in your head, that, what risk was it that we took at making that key?
All right, I will.
Because I feel like she wouldn't have mentioned it unless it was pretty major, because it's not a common thing that people make.
Well, that's true enough, I suppose.
Just figured I'd pass along the message now.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And Alex will go do whatever he was going to do. Probably back to training. But yeah, how do the others fight? That's kind of important for us to know, I feel like.
Much more gracefully than yours. So between the
No.
two older teams, Callan's team is much more they work very well together, and you would infer that that's because they're all very close, they're all really good friends. So they seem to be able to identify and move to cover each other's weaknesses, and they seem to almost be able to read each other's minds in the way they move. It's very graceful. It's almost like watching a dance. Renee's team is a little more rough on the edges. You would infer that they kind of know each other, but they haven't worked deeply together in the same way that Callan's team has. It's kind of like they're more powerful, but you do notice that they blunder sometimes, like they don't read each other's movements as well. And so they'll like kind of bump into each other, or they misstep, or they overreach.
Did you guys talk about when the date of the Blinkball Games is? If I wasn't here for that.
Yeah, how long do we have to train?
You guys have been training for a couple weeks now, and the Blinkball Games is going to be the following week. So your last week of training.
Did I get my sword
You
back
did.
from?
Have you
Okay,
updated
great.
the stats for your sword?
I have not
Okay,
yet.
so you're going to need to do that, otherwise you don't get to use your sword.
Yep, I'll do it
Okay.
right now. Did we get any, like, is everything still like the events? Like, aren't they going to tell us kind of what the events
No.
are, or is there going to like
No.
a clue of any kind? Okay.
All you know is what I've already told you, which is it's a test of everything you are. You
Okay.
would guess that there are 3 components to it, as it's been shared with you that typically there's 3 parts, but sometimes there's more. It just depends on the school and what they want to do.
Okay. Question. What's the extent or the line for cheating?
You are bound under ancient Sumerian law to prevent sabotage from one another, and it's been described as biblical justice. With cheating,
Okay.
it's been hinted at that even if you do find a shortcut or some possible way of cheating, you are highly discouraged from doing so. You don't know what they mean by that,
So,
but
okay.
also,
'Cause
like, people are going to be watching, and you are literally doing this for Kleos, which can translate loosely to glory. So it's
well,
up
my
to you.
my thought was JB happens to hang out with a bunch of ghosts every once in a while. No one can really see what ghosts do. But some of those ghosts may also have been in the Blinkball Games in the past. Hopefully, maybe we can get some advice from them. So technically, maybe in the line of cheating, or maybe get some more information, or on
You
how to.
reading everyone's mind in the middle of like a question game, just trying to figure out any answers you can get. Does that count as cheating, or does that count as resourceful? Like, there's a lot of lines
Yeah.
with magic here. That's just one
The
thing I
only
can
thing
think
you
of.
know about ancient Sumerian law and biblical justice is that there is no gray area. It is black or white.
Well, that's
So
why
that's
I
what
asked.
I'm
What's
telling
the
you.
line for
So it's
cheating?
up to you.
What is considered cheating?
There's a reason that this was implemented. So you can take that however you wish.
Yeah, I feel like there should be a little bit of a guideline, like, hey, this is okay, but this definitely is not.
Your
Like,
guideline is that it's black and white, there is no gray area, and that ancient Sumerian law acts, and there's no judge, jury, executioner. The magic itself is the judge, jury, and executioner. So if you do something you're not supposed to, magic is going to act and you're going to be punished before you can even say, but that's what I was like. No, there's no court.
How would you know you crossed the line if there is no line to
Yeah,
cross?
You signed your soul
Yeah,
to the
what-
Blinkball Games. That is
Yeah.
you saying,
there's no
I agreed to
physical
this.
rules. Like, yeah, but
So
where
the rule the rule is basically whatever they feel is cheating, which is not. Basically,
yeah,
it's whatever they decide.
what is the like? I guess each game kind of has its own rules,
Something
but
of
it's
the
like,
sort.
yeah, but no mind reading magic.
Something of the sort.
No turning invisible.
Again, this is a test of everything that you are. So you would infer that yes, you can do some magic and stuff, but obviously, like an outright attack against another team, like another team outside of one of these events, is gonna be like a no-go.
Yeah,
So it's
but like in the events, what like we get the outside,
so
no
let's
murder,
put
no
that
actual
aside
sabotage.
for now. If and when the time comes, you can ask these questions, but you're not doing the Blinkball games just yet.
But is there okay? Then fine. Since it's okay to ask people about previous games,
You've tried
because
that.
we've already done that before. Is there any way that we can get JB to maybe, if he happens to find a ghost that's been in one before, just to see how it was?
You guys are asking me all these questions about JB's abilities. Have you guys talked to JB?
Well, JB, are you there?
Do you guys actually know that he hangs out with all these ghosts on a daily or every so often?
Apparently, I've gotten a bit of a reputation.
Well, you do see dead people.
Oh, you saw Gary. Dang shame about him.
Cold move.
We already talked to that one fellow, or we talked to somebody that said that the game changes every time. So
Alan said that the games change every time.
yeah, so even talking to somebody that's been through it before, it wouldn't really be, in my eyes. We have no idea what's going to be thrown at us.
Well, the game could change, but the scenarios can change, but the game itself might not change. So it could be like, say, walking a person down or walking an old lady down across the street, but then the street could be a forest, or it could be so it could be kind of the same thing. We just don't know because we don't ask too many
It's
people.
literally said to you that the games change every single time. It's like never the same.
All right.
Like it's literally like you keep asking for details, and I'm telling you, you don't get details because it changes every single time.
All right. Fine.
It's interesting to like still see like the scope of things. So like how dangerous do things get, and like or like how banal can they get?
But like it's
and
like
then like
expectations versus reality. You hear that war is really, really terrible and that there's a lot of blood and death and violence. But until you actually experience war, you don't actually know how bad it is. So like you guys are being told all these things and you guys really don't have that experience because you've never experienced it.
Well, then I'm out of questions.
Okay.
there's like a few things that I feel like we should do just as like a baseline.
What are you thinking?
We should figure out who can communicate with who has the noticing or listening in on it. So Demetrius, you can read it. So Demetrius, there are costs to that. So that's something you can always do. If I like need to give you a longer explanation, can I just
to you, I would say I can only do it once a day. But is there like where I can do like a very minimum version of that?
Very
DM.
minimum version?
Yeah, like if somebody's saying, please accept my head message, can I can I read
think
that?
really hard at you?
Yeah. Because technically if I take off the patch I can read everybody's.
But that's because you're not focusing. It's like it's like a magnet moving to wherever the closest other magnet is.
Well, I'm
so
just
it's not
I'm just
that's
saying
not
it as
something
a
that you've
example.
mastered. It's just this inherent
Yeah.
risk and cost. This is kind of like the cost of your discipline. The cost being that. So theoretically, if you take off your patch and you are overcome by a million thoughts, you might be able to pick up these thoughts from your teammates, but you may also pick up all these thoughts from the people around you. So that would kind of be how it would go. And I may make you roll some kind of check to see what you pick up.
Gotcha.
So that's not like necessarily a tier 1 ability that you have.
Yeah, I figured. So Betty or Cassandra, to answer your question, Probably not.
Okay.
I would have.
I can though, Cher. Anybody close by, I can talk right in their mind.
I can do that too. I just want to know which ones of us could.
No, I don't think you're understanding me.
Hmm?
Anything that I can understand language, I can talk to.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
So-
but
That
it's.
is
I meant
very
like.
useful.
Okay, so you can talk to people. I can talk to people, and then, but no one else has that ability. So if we were all put into separate rooms, then only, Jean-Baptiste and I could talk to each other. So we would have to be the ones who disseminate messages.
Not at this
Mm.
level.
Oh,
Well,
you have to be able
no.
to see them.
So
Okay.
well. So if John Baptiste, because you can talk to everybody too, correct, Cassandra, or just one person?
One person at a time.
Okay. And JB, you can talk to one person at a time or everybody.
I can do one at a time, but there's no limit.
Okay.
Okay.
And is there a limit to you, Cassandra?
No, it's
Okay.
just one person at a time. I guess there is kind of a limit. So Jean Baptiste, you need to be able to see them. I can cast it through solid objects, but there's a limit to how solid or how large this object is for me to cast a spell through.
So if we have somebody, hypothetically, we'll nickname them Watchtower, where they can oversee everything. They might, like JB, who's more of a lover, not a fighter. He can sit in the back, watch the game, and basically move us in whichever direction. And if we need a fallback, we could use
Mhm.
you as Cassandra. JB, does that sound like an idea? That way you're not getting your hands dirty?
I do like this idea.
Okay.
That's assuming that said scenario is set up to be in that exact
Correct.
way.
Correct. If not, it would be best if we have to hypothetically split up. One group gets JB, one group gets Cassandra, and then that would be our walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
Okay.
So we get
Yeah,
our
sorry.
watchtower. I'm sorry. We got our watchtower, and I'm James. Well, everyone kind of hits hard. I know I hit the hardest, so typically I'll be up front for any hard
Mhm.
damage. But
I'm usually going to be behind and support, but I'm not a very good. I don't have heal at all.
I have the ability to heal, and I can supply us with buffs and kind of do the opposite to the enemies. I can somewhat debuff them at the same time.
Okay.
Okay.
So I can
How-
make things easier on us.
I'm also a hybrid damage and heal.
Okay.
Okay. So neither of you need to really worry about like being max behind.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Remember that
Ooh. Okay.
this may be. I don't even know where this is on the line of possible cheating, but remember that smoothie that Cassandra drank that gave her a bonus on something? Could we consume those 24 hours in advance?
Well, no, you have to solve the riddle, and you only get one coupon for the smoothie. So one person can drink it.
Hmm.
We can also just we have money. We can go to. I'm assuming that magical objects and whatnot are allowed in this game, so we can just go to Olympia Village and stock up on supplies. Like there must be potions of various different things, and we have lots of money.
As Nick, I was thinking exactly that. The only problem is what I was thinking requires a little bit too much more money than what we have. So making Demetrius an ultimate tank kind of requires a lot of gold. We don't have that much gold yet.
Yeah, but at the very least, we can get just basic healing potions, maybe some resistance potions, and anything else that seems fun. Potion of haste. Haste is great.
Yeah.
Let's see. And also, who can't see in darkness?
Me.
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 So is it only Jean-Baptiste? Can you see in the dark?
He was
course I
born
can.
in the dark.
Okay, so I have spells in which I can just make things light and then people can see, or I can have people see in the dark. But I would need to have the spell, use the spell, enable for people to
Sorry,
for
disregard that.
myself to see too. That's fine. Okay.
Never mind. I'll message you, Kelly.
Oh, I'm being messaged.
Yeah, I just have a question.
Ooh,
Okay.
nice. Devil sight. That's great.
Yeah.
See all the things all the time. That's great. Okay.
This is the third campaign now where
That's
I just can never get away from people touting having devil sight. I'm gonna make
Aww.
a warlock now that has devil sight all the
I
time.
mean, they want to show
you don't even
off.
need to make a warlock. You could just just take the feat.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Take the feat that lets you take invocations.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Logan, are you messaging me on Discord
Okay.
or Messenger?
Discord.
Okay.
Is there any other just like pre-planning, figure out how we could work together kind of things we should
Yeah,
do?
guys.
Any ideas?
Do we know if? Well, we don't even know if we need potions and stuff like that. But do
Might
we
as
know?
well.
Do we know that, or are we allowed to bring those? Are those items of criteria that we're allowed to bring?
We can go ask the person who played last time if items were allowed.
Renee.
Yeah, we can just ask Renee if items were
What
allowed.
kind of items?
Potions?
Are you actually asking her?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they are, but I would be careful of them as they can be stolen or you have to carry them and that could present a risk.
That's fair. Okay,
Typically not
thank you.
ideal to carry more than a couple potions. Not to mention
Yeah.
there is usually some sort of time allotted between the events. As the Blinkball Games is a grand celebration, there are extravagant events that occur between the events.
Okay.
So I would not recommend stockpiling potions if that was your plan. It is a good strategy, but one that others would anticipate.
That's fair. It just was wondering if they were allowed for backup purposes and whatnot.
They are. Generally, there's no limit. However, you are aware that there's only so much that you can carry. So a little bit
Yeah,
of common sense with
and-
how many potions you would need goes a long way.
Could I ask you another question, if you wouldn't mind?
Well, you're already asking. She gives you like a small amused smile.
Sorry. Last question for today, at least. Just wondering if we were to take a potion that lasts more than the time of the event, and we were to use that before the event started, would that be allowed? Was that allowed when you were in the games?
Well, a War Mage College prides themselves on being prepared at all times, so they banned all potions. So all you had was
Well,
whatever
like-
you had on you, minus your potions.
Oh, I see.
So the War Mage
Okay.
heavily prioritized survival. Again, each school has different regulations and different rules for the events. Arcadia Academy has
Mhm.
not yet announced theirs, and they will not until the start of the games. So that all the
I
schools
see.
are on the
Okay.
same page. That there is no way that it can be said that one school, primarily ours, was given an advantage over another.
Okay. And I know I said I wouldn't ask another question, but just one more. The start of the games, does that mean the first event starts right as they announce the start of the games? Or is there like a celebration, opening ceremonies kind of thing, and then the actual event is the day after?
There is typically an opening ceremony, but the order,
Oh,
again, depends on the school.
okay.
The games
Sounds good.
is
Thank you.
everything that you would expect, and at the same time, nothing that you would expect.
Okay. Is there an event before the opening ceremony?
I don't see how there would be an event before the opening ceremony, aside from if you're talking
Okay.
about the arrival of the schools, but that's not really an event.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any
Thank you,
last
Renee.
questions?
No, that's it for today. Thank you. Hop off and tell everyone all of the things.
Yeah. And because James and Alex.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to know how we're gonna, because we got JB as I'm just gonna keep calling it Watchtower. As Watchtower. We have Cassandra relatively in the back as well, who would flip out with Watchtower in case Watchtower goes down. We need. I'm assuming there's fighting involved. There's going to be at least one round of fighting. We need somebody who can do crowd control, and we need and then who can like play off of the front man, which would be me, and then crowd control as well, and keep be like we need runners, I guess. You guys understand what I'm saying? Kind of like volleyball almost too.
So Cassandra has like some crowd control stuff. She has web, hold person, and flaming sphere. Those are all things.
I can put up a temporary wall. Not a full. Well, that's next level. I can make the ground very difficult to cross over. I've done it before temporarily in Mariana's room.
You sure did.
It not only makes movement very difficult in a spot, but it can also deal damage if they walk through it. So I can buy us time if we're being chased.
Okay.
Not only that, I do have a bit of range, though I can also help out in the front if needed.
Okay. And then James?
Oh boy. I'm more of a single target kind of damage dealer.
Sharpshooter, sniper.
Yeah.
There we go.
Kind of, essentially. I can do a bit of healing. I can also do a buff to us. That keeps itself alive. And I can also disguise myself to be other things, which is nice.
When you say other things, what do you mean by that?
I will use Alter Self and become a copy of Alex.
Ooh.
Okay.
And I will sound exactly like Alex.
That's very useful. Okay.
I don't know how to feel about this. I am both impressed and very scared of what you can do with that.
Yeah. Is he going out with your girlfriend as you? That's a question.
No, first of all.
Or is he being her?
Make out. No, Betty. I can also. It would be hilarious.
Thornwick, get back here!
Note that to myself. I can also sprout gills and webbing, which allows me to breathe underwater and swim. And then also I can obviously change my appearance to whatever I like.
Okay, great.
Hair, facial features, sound of my voice, hair coloration, other characters and such.
So then we got our.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So.
And then I will end it and become James again.
Okay. So you guys continue planning and strategizing with one another. And this last week, your 3 teams are allotted separate individual training times so you can continue to plan like by yourselves and also train alongside the other teams. But you guys have individual training times. A couple days passes. It's like the middle of the week and you guys are in the Battle Magic Arena. It is your team's allotted training time.
I assume that within the last few weeks that I have been trying to make myself better with my patch and everything. What's the progress on that? Am I still shitty or
You feel like you have made some improvements, but you still have a long way to go.
gotcha? Okay. Are we still going to classes or are we like exempt from classes?
You guys are. 1 second.
Does any of you guys have any other questions? Because I ran out of questions and ideas.
Okay, sorry. So, like, yes, you guys are still going to classes, but, like, actually, no. We'll say that this week, because it is the week before the games, your teams are all exempt as you guys are expected to be focusing on training.
Okay.
So, it's the middle of the week, prior to the start of the Blinkball Games, as you guys were informed. And your team is in the Battle Magic Arena because it is your allotted time to train.
Cool.
Got it.
Cool. Kelly, I have a question.
Yes.
How long do I need to be in an area after like my training with like remembering places after I see them and stuff like that? How long do I need to be looking at an area to be let's see, very
question.
very familiar or seen casually a place? So if I wanted to use like actual the travel and not just Misty Step, then how long do I need to like be there or like be looking at it?
It's going to depend on what you're looking at, because if it's really simple, like a plain room with no furnishings, you could probably, like take 30 seconds.
Mhm.
If it's got a whole bunch of shit,
Mhm.
like Penelope's, like Penny's priceless pieces, it's going to take you way more than a minute looking at every single detail. It's going to depend on
Okay.
how like decorated and how busy the room is.
Okay.
Does
Can I ask you? Can Betty ask you before I use travel how confident Cassandra
No.
feels about it? I can't.
No.
Okay.
You can roll like a percentage die
Uh,
of some sort, but like
Okay.
if you're planning to use the traveler ability, it's not like halfway through you're thinking, oh, you know what? I'm going to change my mind and not do it. It's like you either do it or you don't.
Well, yeah, but then like, because I need to like think about the place. I need to like, okay, so question. So then like, if let's see, how do I describe this? If I'm deciding whether I'm going to use that ability or not, then I may decide to not use it if I don't remember the room very clearly. And because you have a better image of like what the room should look like, then you would know better like if like the time amount that I spent in it would be enough for more familiarity, or if I'm just like, don't really know what it looks like, can't really recall.
It's going to depend. So just
Yeah, so then
situationally.
can I ask you during the situation? Can Betty ask
Like
you?
if you're in a new room, are you asking like, hey, how confident am I after staring at this room for 30 seconds that I'll be able to come back to it?
No, like it would be like before I was to use the ability. Like I'm thinking about going back to that room that I looked at. Like, do I still remember that? Or was the time that I spent in there enough?
No, because
Okay.
that's like saying, can I think about whether or not I'm going to use the spell slot before I use it? If you're thinking, hey, I'm going to go teleport and use my traveler ability to go into this location, it's going to depend on you in that moment, in that spot to be like, okay, so I'm going to recall every single detail I remember about it. And the way the document explains traveler abilities is kind of like efficiently using your magic. So there's a potential that the cost is going to be higher if you're not efficient about it, but you should be able to still get to where you're going depending on what the limits of the spell is. Cost hasn't really been a thing that has come up because not all of you have like directly experienced a cost, except for Demetrius, who has like really bad headaches, and Rosie, whose sanity is at stake.
So what I'm worried about is that like, so the travel spell, which is like the not Misty Step, but the travel spell that I can do, but only take
Yeah.
myself. you roll on you roll to see the what would happen to you if you like don't get there, if you're off
Yes.
target, or like if
So
like
that's basically
yeah,
what it's going to
so-
come down to. You're going to be like, hey, I want to use the teleport spell. Okay, cool. So roll on the table.
yeah, but then like the numbers are different. Like what you need to get is different depending on you can visualize that space, which is why I'm trying to figure out like how can like because Cassandra would know, I'm assuming, how well she thinks she visualized the space, while like Betty might not be exactly certain because I'm not actually there and don't have Cassandra's training.
You're going to roll the percentage die.
So
That's how you determine how like confident you're going to be with the spell. So it's not,
Okay.
hey Kelly, I
Okay.
want to know if I'm how I'm feeling about this. It's you're going to role play this out.
okay.
Okay. So guys, you guys are all in the battle magic arena during your allotted training time.
Yuri approaches the team and says, "Let's see how far you've come."
And then he claps his hands together and the entire environment around you changes.
And cool.
And that's where we're going to end the session. So, until next time, guys. Bye.
Later.
Thanks for listening. For more information about the world of Arcadia Academy, please check out our website, bookwyrmsandcatdragons.com. That is book, W-Y-R-M-S, and catdragons.com. Everything is spelled exactly how it sounds, except for worms, which is W-Y-R-M-S. And if you like what you're listening to so far, please consider supporting our Patreon, patreon.com/bookwyrmsandcatdragons. Patrons get exclusive access to the behind-the-scenes content that you won't find anywhere else, including a new patron shoutout, an invite to patron-only Discord channels, and depending on the tier, access to our Party Talk segments where we discuss sessions, opportunities to name NPCs, chances to submit a signature spell for the world, invitations to monthly Q&As with our team, and so much more. See you next time!
Some notes for the episode. So a quick clarification as mentioned in episode 17. The party was dismissed from classes in order to properly train for the Blinkball Games. Also, this was an unexpected DM Q&A session. The players, as you can tell, had a lot of questions. We'll get to the actual Blinkball Games eventually.